What in the wide world of sports is going on around here?
This channel is about working on aircraft and flying those airplanes. So come take a seat and let's go for a flight.
Alright, you might be asking yourself, what in the world are you doing with all these cords? And the simple truth is, I've had this ongoing issue with some buzzing through the audio on my iPad. And so, I'm going to try and figure out what's wrong. Through the magic of cinematography, I happen to know the answer to my query. What's that sound? And so I'm going to, on this really short video, I'm going to show you the troubleshooting method that probably you can approach any kind of problem with, but especially when you have audio problems. That can be quite vexing and rather annoying when the sound doesn't sound that good. I'm going to do some ground tests and mix up some of the cables that power the supply of power to the iPad to see if I can figure out where's that sound coming from. So in some of my previous videos, I've actually had to pull the 3.5mm plug that supplies the intercom with the lady in the box telling me where the traffic and which runways I'm about to enter.
Approaching runway 16 right, 34 left.
I've just not been running the audio, which is kind of, well, it's a nice feature to having some situational awareness and alerting me of where the traffic's coming from when I probably have my head turned the other direction. So I went down to the big box store and I got a nice set of shielded 3.5mm cable, and that didn't fix the problem. So pushed the airplane outside, did a run up, and started isolating the problem. When troubleshooting, if you're not going to bring your wheelbarrow and just start throwing things at it, you need to have a method in order to systematically go through the problem you're having. Now, first and foremost, you need to know how the system works. And how do you learn how the system works? Either by trial and error, or go through and read your manuals. Figure out how the system works, read the description and operations, and just read how to work the system, whatever it is, whether it be hydraulic or brake or electrical or whatever. So, the other thing you need to do is to isolate the system. I know there's a lot of people out there that complain about, they just put a new component on their airplane and all of a sudden they got buzzing. Well, probably if it wasn't buzzing before, and once you started doing something, then chances are that's probably that thing. So you should try and isolate it as best you can, and that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to try a myriad of power cables, because these can be quite noisy. I've already isolated the 3.5mm plug is not the issue, and the fact that these are shielded, so really good high quality component here with the shielded audio cables. So I have a smorgasbord of cables. I have everything from an original iPad, Apple cable, and then I have a couple that came off of the Amazonian. I'm pretty sure that, well, I'm sure all of these are Chinese. All of them. But I do know that the Apple cables are shielded. I'm not quite sure about these. And then my little retractable octopus cable, that's really... of all the ones that are going to be noisy, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this one. So, we're going to do some ground tests and then push the airplane outside and run the motor, because a lot of interference comes from the ignition system of the engine. So, we'll get at it. So I have my original cables in the configuration. I'm going to do a ground test. So, master, Circuit breakers are in. It's gonna be kind of loud with the standby.
Center Romeo Delta, Freedom Change Group, good day. Alright, checkers. Ooh, hello, okay. So, this is probably going to be a little bit loud. Well, maybe not with that, but... So this is my original configuration with the audio. And I can kind of hear that much quieter now. Cessna 83 Charlie, runway 16 left, cleared to the option. Cleared to the option, 16 left, 83 Charlie. I don't really need to be listening to those guys. But there's that little bit of hiss. So when I pull the breaker for the accessory power, how it got quieter. So that's the power cable creating the noise going to the iPad. That right there. That noise is extremely annoying. And so to troubleshoot this, we're going to take off the first cable. Bye-bye, bye-bye. And we're going to try another cable. This one's very fancy. Comes with lights. I want to go into the same socket. You'll see the cable light up. Oh, wow. That was horrible. But that initial sound is from the current. So as the iPad draws power, that initial surge is what's causing that noise. And it's coming either through the cable or through the electrical line supplying at the outlet. So we still don't know at this point whether it's the cable or not. These are, by the way, these are all the cheapest of all the cables. This is probably going to be the worst, because this little roll-up one, little travel cable. Ooh. Yeah, that is horrible. All right. So, cracked and get rid of that one. I'm not crazy about the length on this thing. It's going to draw a little bit too much more current. The longer the cable, the more current it's going to draw. However, when we hook this up, still getting a little bit of noise. So I'm going to assume if I'm doing an engine run, it's even going to get worse. So we'll push the airplane outside, fire it up, and then we'll see how much better or worse it is when it's running.
I know technically I'm supposed to have my seatbelt on, but we're just going to be doing an idle here, so let's my headset over there. So we got the original cable plug in here.
Plug in here. Alright. We are on the brakes. Image. Mixture rich. Carburet's cold. Master. Slate. Prop.
And that's the way it should sound. Nice and quiet like that. But we're getting that. And it doesn't matter where I've moved the audio cable. I've got 2 inputs. It doesn't matter there. Try the next cable. I'm actually going to try this in part of the troubleshooting here. Try it in another outlet. Oh, that is horrible. You can hear it quiet there. And humming sound. We don't like hummingbirds in our airplanes. This is the next one. That one's really bad. That's the worst of all 3 of them. One of the cheap ones. This is the decent cable. And it's still screeching. So it has to do with the maximum amount of power going through the cable at the time. Because right now it's okay, it's not as bad, but when you first plug it in, it's drawing a lot of current. Because the iPad's thinking, oh, I need to check the charge rate. And then when it's done, it's fully charged right now. Oops. And I have all my lights on. All the lights are on. Here is the accessory, and quiet. Super quiet. Squelch on the radio. So this is what it should sound like when it's nice and quiet.
Number 654 Bravo Main Tower, inner right base, 1016 right.
But when I put in the accessory power that's charging the iPad, I get that. That's just horrible. It should sound like that. So my alternative is to not use this, or I'm going to have to shield the power going to the outlet, or just run a battery pack to charge the iPad, which really isn't ideal, especially on a long cost country, i.e. Oshkosh coming up. So we're going to have to figure this out. It's probably because I bet that wire is just a standard wire and not shielded properly. So we're going to have to look at that. But
Number 654 Bravo, runway 16 right, to the land.
As I leave you with corded cables all over the place in the cockpit, we will catch up with you later. But that's basic troubleshooting. Isolate to the problem that you have and know your systems. So we'll see you guys next time.